Good, sir. How about you?
Okay.
And I was going around some old greenhouses, crates, got and stuff. I was cleaning it up for him.
However,
I done, man. I was blowing everything out. I stepped on a run on my left leg. I bent my
yes, that's what he was talking about.
something just got my sense. All I had, I sat down again, I felt it. I was like, "Son, man." I got my trailer, had my pants down, and a yellow jacket had got me in my breeches.
It was like a no quit.
He got me in my leg, he got me like 4 times before I got me out of my pants.
Forget what that stands for. It's like a
Man,
Christian
I had a video here off of,
executive.
I can't remember the name of the subdivision, I said, like a Roosevelt.
And he led that for the
She
longest
had one of those
time.
ditches on the side of the road, you couldn't get them over, it got
He's a
weeds.
great guy. He's a real good
And
guy.
I saw the hole in the ground.
Had breakfast with yesterday.
You know, we put that in, that's where another,
Oh,
just
that's where
kept
we
weeding.
talk.
Get over there. We're just talking.
And I went over to the next thing I know, I got a video of it on my phone.
What a very specific question to ask.
Neighbors, I mean, this was 7:30 in the morning. Okay? And the guy comes around and I'm screaming for him. I'm stripping in the middle of the road. I'm trying to get my clothes off because they're all in my clothes. You know? I dropped my weed on the ground. It was still running. They're all swarming around the thing. And I couldn't get the wood to stop. And I was naked standing in the middle of the street. I ended up in the hospital.
You sound about like this.
They tore me up. They said that the guy, the doctor told us on that one more, he said he projected I had been bit over 120 times.
Ooh, man. Fire ants?
No yellow jackets, brown horns.
Yeah, I hate them. Man, they ran me on my lawn. Let me run around my backyard.
Get them in the morning before the sun gets up. I mean, seriously, 6:37 in the morning, find the hole, pour gas down it. That's the only way to kill
That's how I
them.
had to get rid of them.
You know what's stopping the problem? You can't get him up there.
You're right, I'm up before then.
Yes. All right, it's 7 o'clock. We're going to call the April 7th, 2025 Board of Commissioners meeting to order. If we don't mind, Commissioner Martin, do you mind leading us in prayer?
Yes, let's pray. Our Father in heaven, honored is your name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from all that is evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Father, as we sit to dispatch the business of the time, we ask, Lord, that you endow us with power from above, Lord, with wisdom and knowledge, Lord, that we'll do what is right, not only towards our citizens, but for our staff. And it's in your Son, Jesus' name, that we pray. Amen.
We'll stand for pledge allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next on the agenda is to adopt the agenda for April 7th, 2025 board meeting. Do I have a motion?
What is there anything different in the new agenda versus the old?
We removed information on
South Pine Street,
South Pine Street,
but that was it.
but that was it. And then we added discussion, number 10, discussion, but the packet was reorganized, and I just made you a new copy.
Okay.
It's the same information, it's just reorganized.
All right, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, I have a motion,
Second.
and I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, motion passes 4-0. All right, next on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda, which consists of 4A, B, C, D, and E.
Make the motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor? Raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-0. Next on the agenda is comments. My comments here. If you haven't rode by the community center library property, please do so when you get a chance. We've had the trees removed and the ground that we've started grading, and so did some of that today, and we'll start hauling dirt in as soon as possible and building the pad for the building. The building is being delivered on June 1st is what we're being told, and we anticipate to be completed with this thing by November 1st. Also, we'd like to congratulate Buddy, who passed his last 2 exams, is that correct? And is officially the ORC now. Wesley has started his classes and has passed his first exam and acts as a backup ORC. I'd like to congratulate these guys on their accomplishments. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And that's all I have. Do any of the commissioners have anything to add?
I do. The last Saturday of this month is the 26th, and the library and the Princeton Women's Club invite all. It's a community cleanup day. Yep, from 9 to 12, I think it is. You sign up, you can go to either the library's website or the Princeton Women's Club's website or Facebook pages, and there's a QR code. You sign up, you put that you're volunteering for Princeton, and we're going to be all around town cleaning up, 9 to 12, last Saturday of the month. We would love everyone to be there. That's all.
Anyone else? Okay. Next on the agenda is public comments, persons to be heard. Public comments is that time any citizen can address the board on an item that is not on the agenda. Speakers are asked to keep their order in balance, that all public comments will be kept to 3 minutes. We ask that you come to the podium, state your name and address. Speakers shall at all times maintain proper decorum and present all comments in a civil manner. This is a public listening opportunity for the board to listen and not engage or answer any impromptu questions. Is there anybody that would like to speak? Yes, sir.
Most of y'all know me, but anyway. Charles Williams, I live on 710 New Ballpark Road. Basically from the Little League ball field to Hinton Road between me and my sister. I own that farm on the right-hand side. Trying to do this as quick as possible. It's kind of hard, but 6 years ago, we had a big thing with this town. I don't know how many of y'all are aware or doing, but from Cloverdale Estates across over Pine, the water runs down through there anyway. I get half the backside of Princeton's waterfall runs through my property, okay? I was condemned in this room 6 years ago by things and comments that came out of here anyway that it was my fault. But it's not, okay? Y'all are my problem. I'm not y'all's problem. But there was an agreement made. There was a tile in the ditch that was put in. Grant, the tile was too small. The tile has been removed. Short of the story is Keith Worley and him just did another project on my farm. In the last 4.5 years, me and my sister have spent close to $60,000 trying to help that ditch and restructure that ditch and help water run off on my property to save my land. Y'all did this year, and I do a thank you very much. The agreement that me and Princeton had, or I and Princeton and I, that's correct, was 1A, which y'all did do this year finally, and I appreciate it very much. The property there across on Pine Street was left and made into an open ditch to try to help slow the water down some. That was done. I appreciate that a lot. The other part of that agreement was on Hinton Road to the other side around what I think they call Beaver Creek around the Louis Smith Road was supposed to be cleaned out, and it has not been. The water comes to my farm, it gets to Hinton Road, it gets in behind Ricky Hinton's house, and it stops, and it backs up on my property. 3 Saturdays ago, or 3 Sundays ago, we got like that 3 inches of rain. You literally could go to that ditch, and there's a 52-inch tile in that ditch. There was 3 foot of water on my side, and excuse my language, but it was like a trickle drip in a leak hose coming out the other. It wasn't going down. I had DOT finally came out there. They actually came last week, and you know, they're only allowed 30 foot from the center line. The guy, they did bring an excavator. They dug out as far as they could do, and they re-rocked on the other side. He brought someone with him with a drone and put in the air, and you can see from the back side around from Ricky's house, back behind what used to be his daddy's house and around, it has not been cleaned out. I know Princeton got a bunch of money for that, and either I want to know when it's going to be cleaned out or where the money is, because it hadn't been done. The water is actually Princeton's responsibility. It's coming off y'all. It's coming through my property. I've done my part, and I need Princeton to do theirs. God, it's causing me a lot of problems. If anybody is more than welcome to come to my place, I'll ride you down there. I'll show you. If you come on the ditch on this side of Hinton Road, you can see all the washouts and doing where there's so much water and it's not going through. I need that other side cleaned out. And bringing in something else I just found out here a few weeks back. I've been trying to communicate with Brad. Brad was going to supposedly get me a meeting with people to talk to. Hadn't been done. There's another one I think y'all just did or reapproved or rezoned supposedly for development there on Massey Holt. Most of the land actually attaches to the Hintons. I want to know what the water plan is for that and what they're going to do with water runoff, because the majority of it will go on the Hinton land, but if it gets in that tree line, it's coming straight to my house and it's coming straight to that ditch, and I can't have no more water. I can't deal with no more. I wasn't notified of the sale. I wasn't notified of the rezoning. There's a whole bunch, but I'm not going to get into it all. I got hit really, really hard in my mind with a permit to build on my own land and doing, but I had to notify a bunch of people, but only 2 or 3 people were notified about that. And anyway, I need help. I need help. I'm doing for y'all. I have done for y'all. I've spent a lot of money for y'all, and I expect something in return. And if there's anything you can do, anytime I can get with anybody to meet, sit down, do. I do own my own business. I run my own business. I work like you do. Anytime, evening, daytime, do whatever. If you'll set a time and you want to go look and show you, I'll show you what I'm talking about. But this water's coming from Princeton, and I need help. And I was promised help, and I need it. I need y'all's promise followed through.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Anyone else? All right, next on the agenda is the budget meeting.
All right, boy, how's everybody doing this evening?
Good.
Could do this here real quick. If you would look at, in your packet, agenda item number 7, I made a snippet of some notes on some revenues and some expenses. Presented in front of you is current revenue and expenditures for the current fiscal year. As you can see, I've noted the revenues that are on the plus side and the expenditures that are on the negative side. I made notes pertaining to each expense, and these were emailed out March 10th and 17th, asking for responses from the board. Mayor Johnson and Commissioner Boyette, the Finance Commissioner, and I have had several discussions on these budget items, and I've answered their questions. Currently working on the budget amendments for the current fiscal year that I will present at the next meeting. These amendments are required to balance the current budget. And there may be questions you have that I may not know the answer to tonight, but I will get those to you. But again, item number 7 shows revenues and expenses of overages. If you flip over to the budget versus actual, and we'll start there. Looking at the budget versus actual on page 1 and 2, I've noted the reason for the revenues in red. On page 1, you can see the highlighted items and the reason for those overages. If you have any questions during anything, anytime, please stop me and let me know. But I'm just going to kind of go through this. We can go back to it if we need to, or we can stop, however you guys want to do it. But looking at the budget versus actual on page 1 and 2, the reason for the overages are in red. If you flip over onto page 3, there are no changes on page 3. If you flip over to page 4, there are a few changes or a few notes down here at the bottom on a few of the items there. Moving, let's see. All right, any questions so far on anything?
I got one on page 2, the SRO reimbursement. It says here y'all received that on 3/19. This was printed on 3/19, but it had not
It
been.
did come in later that afternoon,
Okay.
but we did get it.
And that is the full 128,000.
Yes, sir. Moving over to page 5, line item 10, 420, 3,500. You can see that the 3% credit card fee has been charged back to the customer. And this is the report. As of this report, we received $8,801.14, which will be applied back to the budget line. 10, 420, 4,500 is contracted services and home call, and 10, 420, 4,600 is consultant services with a COG, TRC, or other agencies that we may use. Looking at page 6 and page 7.
I got a question. On the consultant services, you got here more or less says the town is needed, and that's where we used her to work with the,
That's when we need her for any historical documentation, budgeting, audit.
questions with budget or whatever.
And as you can see, we really reduced that this past year. We tried not to depend on her a lot, but she still has a lot of knowledge and history. Okay, moving, that's my turn.
Page 7.
Page 7, okay, thank you. Page 6 and 7, there were no changes. Page 8, the police department. As you can see, there are a few overages here. However, once the budget amendments are done, these will balance out. You can see the PD had some unexpected expenditure, unexpected required training that needed to take place this fiscal year due to certifications expiring. The batteries for the portable signs were approved by the board that come out of funds from the sale of the vacant lot, which I will present later. PD radars were dated, had to be updated to training standards, and we had to purchase 2 new radars. Officers have attended and are currently attending radar training school. The debt service you see is for the Tahoe and interest. And I have updated all the loan sheets that will go into the budget as well. On page 9, there are no changes. Moving on to page 10, Street and Sanitation Department. You can see the highlighted lines again are due to wear and tear of some of these vehicles. The garbage truck had some major repairs. Hydraulics went out. We had to contact a company out of Charlotte that manufactures the vehicle to come out and do a check and get all the parts. And that expense alone was just $7,000 just to have that repaired. Our garbage truck is 11 years old, and we still owe $102,384.61 on it. This will be paid off September 30th, 2029. Line 10, 560, 4501, leaves and limbs. We had hired out a contractor to remove leaves and limbs that were being dumped at the wastewater treatment plant by our public works guys, and we had a lengthy conversation about that, and that will not happen again. The 10, 560, 7400 has been adjusted and now shows 5,000 over, not 10,000. We corrected that. It just doesn't reflect on your paper. This was the purchase of the Pine Mountain garbage truck. The debt service and interest and the street paving loan, in which the Powellville funds will offset as well. Let's see.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
The it just jumped out at me. The, two things, the Ford Ranger, are we sure, is that still in service?
It is. We try to spend as little as possible on it, but it's still in service. It's just a little beater around town. I think it needed a set of tires and something else this year. But we still use it. It's just a decent little dependable truck.
And then the backhoe?
Backhoe had tires.
Two front tires in the main cylinder on the back one out.
That's
Those
it.
are repainted.
So that had to be repaired as well. As of today, for the street paving loan, we owe $207,871.39. This will be paid off on June 30th, 2020, using Powellville vehicle tag fee revenue. Moving to page 11, this is another portion of the street paving loan that Powellville will offset. Page 12 is the current community center, and this building, as you guys know, is going to be gone soon. We had a few damages in there that were taken out of renter deposits, bathrooms, toilet leaks, things like that. The electricity is over budget due to the library being housed there and operating more hours. And then, of course, once the new center opens, those bills will be split separately. The town will have their own utilities, and the library will have their own utilities. Page 13 is Flores Park. And as you can see there noted, we had some break-ins at the park into the restrooms. We had to replace some toilets and some painting on the wall to cover up some graffiti, and some just some vulgar language.
So are and this help me out. So are they breaking into the restroom to use the bathroom or just to go in
Just
there?
vandalize.
Okay.
Just young kids just breaking in and vandalizing them. Page 14 has no changes. Page 15, the contingency. 5,000 contingency was moved to the capital outlay. This is to cover the high-level garbage truck purchase. And there are no changes on page 16 and 17, and that is the end of the general fund. Any questions on the current budget? And again, there'll be amendments for the general fund that will balance this out. All right, moving on to water and sewer, page 18. 18 is the revenues, and these are the estimated budget guesses on what the town projects to receive. We're still waiting on some lots to be recorded, and that will impact some of the capacity fees and other things on that side, sewer, taps and all. On page 19, these are the water and sewer expenditures. Education should be highlighted, not pre-employment, but education should be highlighted as we did send Buddy to take some classes. And then we had David and Wesley had started classes to get their certification, so that way we can have one full-time ORC and two backups, or possibly two full-time ORCs. And so we're working toward that. That way we can possibly do away with the part-time that we have now. The backhoe expense, we talked about that in the general fund. That's split between the two departments. The jetter we had, it died. I don't know if it was due to age, lack of maintenance and servicing, or what. But it was old in age, but it has been serviced, and it is back. That was an unexpected expense of about $5,500. Speaking of the jetter, we do need to look at the budget coming up, because we're going to need a new hose for that. And a hose for the jetter, I think you said was about $7,000. So we got that in our Buddy and I's discussion.
So is the jetter on life support, or is it in the A field?
The jetter is good. It's the hose is not good now.
Yeah.
Okay. One other question. The certifications for the other two gentlemen, what type of, do we even put any, or look at having some form of a retention that we're sending to school?
We haven't,
Promise.
we do, them 2.5% raise for every certification that they get, but as far as locking them into, hey, you take these classes, you're going to commit to 2 to 3 years, we have not done that, but that is something we can look at moving forward in the next year or two, because again, he has all his certifications, and then he could just up and leave, but we pay for everything. Same with PD, when you hire a new PD, you know, you can lock them into a couple years contract or something, so that's something we can, you know, look at.
I don't know of anyone who actually does that, because it kind of puts you in a very bad position, because if you end up having someone that doesn't want to work for you anymore,
Yeah.
and that I just don't think that's something that is doable.
The discussions I've had with some of the other towns and stuff, it's hard to do, to get somebody to commit, one, to come work for you. I mean, it's hard to get people to come work, then get them to commit 2 or 3 years. And then if they leave, it's just a big mess trying to settle up with uniforms and vacation, sick time, and all that stuff. It's a good process, but on the backside, it is a headache to try to deal with, you know, somebody who does.
What I've done with some of mine, because I have to get certifications on some of my guys, I prorate it.
Yeah.
The longer you're there, the less you owe back. But if you quit within the first year, you're 100% liable for the certifications back. If you stay 2 years, it drops. 3 years, it drops. So they can work themselves out of it, but or they can pay it out. You can
I'll
trade
talk
it out
with
for comp time or
I'll talk with
whatever.
the department heads.
There's a way to do it, because
Yeah.
it's not fair for a company or a town to pay for all the certifications and then 2 months later the guy quits.
Yeah.
That's not right.
I agree with that. But I'll make a note, talk with the department heads, and we'll try to come up with something and present it to the board. 3720, 3200, that's our billing services for our bills. We just had an increase from the company. Wasn't nothing too major on that. Moving on to page 20, this is miscellaneous, and this is over due to a lot of water and sewer repairs and locates with 811. We do get invoiced and billed for those.
Wow.
We do.
I don't.
We got a bunch of invoices.
I call them in every week. They never send me a bill.
No, we're the receiving end.
Yeah.
So we have, it's
Oh, okay,
month-
so it's not ones you're calling in, it's ones people are calling in. So
Right.
okay, I got you now.
Yes.
I won't call in.
Yeah, confusion there. 21, we have no changes. Moving on page 22, 30, 820, 1500. You can see the notes in red. We had, let me see where I'm at. Major repairs on that, and this was the lift station upkeep. This was the Edwards Road pump station that went out. Motor blew up. Had to rent a generator, had to get it repaired, serviced, and that was just an unexpected expense and a lengthy expense time-wise. But it has been repaired, and there are no issues with that right now.
That was in the Eagles Crest?
I should say I had a question on that one.
And Buddy may be able to answer this one, but I'll try.
Well, it says in there that in the Eagles Crest was pumping out the tanks
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff.
Eagles Crest. Now that,
Ain't been through there.
at Eagle Crest,
They ain't come through mine.
well, I think I'm not sure, you know how many they hit in there when they get Eagle Crest pumping?
Is it staggered? Is it everybody at once?
It
or
is
it-
staggered.
It's
I think it's X amount every year.
halfway down.
Yeah.
I have to go back in the book.
We got a list,
on the
I can get you a
left-hand
list, but it's X amount of houses every 3 years that get hit, and this was a year that they were hit. And I don't know how many exactly it was.
We'll look at that afterwards.
Yeah, we'll look at it.
Is it mandatory?
It's mandatory. It's in the digger permit and
It has to be
and it's
pumped every
state. And if I'm not mistaken, we'll look at it later. I think it states in there they have to be pumped and inspected yearly.
Yeah.
Pump here?
They have to be inspected, and if they're full, they have to be
But
pumped.
it's like a septic tank, right?
It is, the problem you have is if they're not pumped and they're transferred, there's actually 2 tanks in there. There's a baffle between, when it gets up so high, it'll dump over, and it dumps into the pump side, and it stops the pumps up and burns them up. So if you catch it before, you save money because you don't have the damage to the pumps.
Well, we can pull it up and take a look at it. Page 23, the plant had a new station go down that needed a new motor. I can't even read my own stuff. Plant had new lights installed and replaced outside. That's why the electricity went up. But we had new outdoor lights put up and everything that were LEDs. The plant upkeep is over due to a major line that is at the plant that was clogged or broke. And Commissioner Holmes and Mayor Johnson were informed on this, and they were on site during the repair of this project. The line was located, dug up, service repaired. I think it was a clogged line, and possibly due to Hurricane Helene, I think it was, yeah. The chlorinator that's at the plant, it's 15 years old, and it died. We had to replace this, and that was about a $12,500 expense. We could not borrow one or rent one. We had to have a chlorinator for our permit down there. Moving on to page 24. This is just due to water leaks, sewer repairs in town. This is something we really can't prepare for financially, but we try to do the best. We don't know when we're going to have water leaks, sewer leaks, etc. But Public Works staff and I talked, and anything that is 4 foot or above, Buddy and his crew are going to do their best to repair those. Keeping it in-house, anything below 4 feet, we have to contract out. And we have had that discussion. He did a repair the other day, Wednesday, Thursday, and repaired a water leak, and it saved the town about $8,500 for that. And we have no issues with it at all. So they know what they do. It's just trying to get them time to do it and everything.
So is the reason they can't go beyond 4 because they don't have the,
Equipment and some other stuff.
They don't have a trench short thing with
Trench box.
We are working on maintaining and flushing the lines quarterly, checking the manholes to help prevent any future leaks or any breaks in the line as well. Moving on to page 25, there are no changes on 25, and that is the end of the water and sewer fund. Again, on the current budget, which this is what I just went through, I am working on budget amendments to balance that, and I hope to have those to present at the next meeting for you. Any questions on that before I move on and hand out some information for y'all to look at? All right. Next, I am going to pass out a budget amendment that has already been approved by the board. This was done a couple months ago, and this is the sale of the vacant lot where the board allocated X amount of dollars to the roof, X amount of dollars to the batteries for the LED pole signs, and X amount to the CIP. And the sale was $49,780. And capital improvement plan was $7,500. The batteries were $1,000. The new town hall roof was $20,458, which leaves us $20,822 that will be moved to contingency. This again has been approved by the board, and I just need you guys to make an official motion, if you will, and approve this. It's already been done, and I just need to update it into FMS on our system so it'll update the budget. Again, this has already been approved by the board.
Quick question, the $49,780, is that what the town netted, or is?
That was the sale of the lot. We took out $350 for the attorney fees. We pulled that out of the attorney fees, and we paid the 5% to the realtor out of I don't know, I can't.
But
This is it, yeah.
Okay.
So we pulled
Just want to make sure that.
it was 2698 is what we owed to the realtor, and then 350 to the attorney, but we pulled those out of other accounts. But after because we never discussed that in that budget meeting or in that, so with these being paid, that leaves us the 2822 that will move to contingency in the current fiscal year. But like I said, all I need is just for the board to just approve that if they will.
How did the sale of that vacant lot, wasn't there something else we were supposed to pull out of that?
That's it, just those three things.
That I don't understand why we wouldn't have, the 6% and, and the 350 or whatever.
If you want to add that to this, we can
Why,
add that tonight,
why
and then I
we
can just
wouldn't
adjust it.
have taken that out of these?
That's why I was asking the question, because
Yeah.
I felt like it probably should be there, because that number is not what we took in.
So you want to amend this budget and pull the attorney fees and the closing?
I think we probably should,
I think it needs to be.
We can do that.
because, I mean,
You got that?
we don't sell a lot every day. And then the other thing was like the miscellaneous, the batteries. I know there was some discussion that night of taking it to the actual piece of equipment that it went to and tying it into the budget.
Yeah.
Instead of taking it out of this. Now,
Right.
I know that number was a lot bigger that night when we were discussing
It's over
it,
$3,000.
but we could probably absorb that into our budget, and I mean, it's neither here nor there, but we had that discussion that night.
Right.
Would that just be to keep it clean? This-
Yeah, well,
this
just to
transaction?
know what we spent on that piece of equipment, we're not gonna remember that we spent $1,000 for batteries in 2025. So when we go back and look, hey, when was the last time we bought batteries, we won't remember
Got it.
where we had it. If we go back to that piece of equipment, we can see what we spent on it.
Got it.
And we've got 2 of those signs, so there's another sign out there that's gonna need batteries. At some
We
time
can,
soon.
whoever's here 10, 20 years, I mean, they should be able to run the report, and it'll show every expense that come out of this transaction. I mean,
But on the
Yeah, I
front,
know
it
it
just
is.
says miscellaneous, it doesn't say what it's from, or what it's for.
Yeah, do we even have the signs listed in the budget?
We do not.
So it would go under miscellaneous, under equipment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're wanting to move,
I'm not saying whatever the board
Okay.
chooses. I was just trying to make sure we could
Yeah,
find it
okay.
if we had some
So the-
repairs in the future and we we'll know what we'd spend on that piece
Well, I
of
don't
equipment.
think you'd be able to find them in either.
Yeah, if it's in the miscellaneous.
so it sounds like.
Well, and just to me, and the reason I mention it, because number one, that the night that we were talking about the battery, that I thought that whether it was just consensus or whether the board actually voted on taking the money out of the section that actually had the batteries, and just to me that whatever it took to get to 49,780, that the that the 6% from the realtor should reflect that it came from here.
Well, I think that's where it needs to come from, that's what it was for.
Yeah.
So basically, we just need to clean it up a little bit.
If that's what you're wanting, we would just need a motion to take the 350 attorney fees and the 5% realtor fees out of the remaining 20,822 contingency, and then put the rest into contingency.
But because you took that out of which section?
What's that?
The attorney fees and.
Just our budget line for attorney fees.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So we have a straight line for attorney fees.
And
So we pulled 350 just to pay for that.
and
Because
what
it wasn't
about
discussed then.
what about the 6% for the realtor?
sure, you remember where we pulled that? I'd have to
And I
look
don't
back.
believe it was 6%.
It was 5%, it was like $2,400. But I can find out where we pulled it from. But if you want to do what you said, that is doable. We just need you to let us know how you want to proceed with the 350 and the 5%.
I think when a motion is made, you just say that you take all the lot closing cost and apply it to the gross income.
And I can email you an updated contingency amount tomorrow, once we pull the 350 and the roughly 2,400 out, it'll leave us about 16, give or take, to move to contingency. But that'll also put 350 back into the attorney fees, and we'll find out where we did pull that from. I don't have that with me right now, but I'll get it tomorrow.
All right, and the $1,000 for the batteries, do y'all want to leave them where they're at, since they're going to go to miscellaneous? And,
And we don't have a line item.
yeah, if we don't have a line item
It is a
for that piece of
miscellaneous.
equipment, it's really not going.
But whose budget was that going to come out of?
Came out of mine.
Huh?
You come out of the 510, 5700, which is PD.
Parks like, yeah.
Not on those signs, so-
If that's the case, those attorney fees are steep too.
Let's make a motion now.
All right, so we need a motion. If we're gonna leave the $1,000 where it's at in miscellaneous, which I think is fine, since we don't have a specific line item for this piece of equipment, we just need a motion to move forward and apply the closing cost for the lot to the actual journal entry for the lot.
What about
And
the
the attorney
batteries?
fees.
And that we have all the closing costs, our closing costs, whatever that is,
And what about the batteries?
and the batteries.
And the batteries.
If everybody's in agreement with that.
Motion approved.
All right, so are you making the motion?
Oh, yes, make a motion to move all the closing costs, realtors, attorney's fees, not to those specific line items in the budget, but as a reflection of that transaction, and as well as we want the batteries pulled out, right? Am I saying that right?
We leave the batteries.
We want to leave the batteries in there.
Right.
So everything stayed the same, we're gonna move, the motion would be to apply all closing costs from the lot to this transaction.
Got it, yes, that's, yeah.
And I'll add the balance will be moved to contingency.
Contingency.
Second.
All right, I have a first, have a second, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-0.
All right. Now I'm gonna pass out another spreadsheet. These are some budget amendments that I've worked on that we like to present to get approved tonight. This is just cleaning up some of the salaries that we had talked about splitting between departments and everything. Nothing changes in the budget at all. The first block, you can see the administrator salaries, clerk, and the assistant clerk. You can see what the total budget was, and we just moved money from one line where we didn't have enough to cover it, or we added it to cover it, but it all balances out. You can see the fiscal year budget was $88,454. The final is the same. Again, nothing changed in the budget. It's just cleaning this up. The same for the next, in the 30 fund, the administrator, billing, clerk, and everything. Again, where we didn't budget enough to cover a salary, where we split them into two departments, when we just increased or decreased. No change in the budget, 53,842, 53,842. And then again, same thing down below, same 123, 132, 123, 132. This is just cleaning up the budget so April and I know, and you guys will know how we split the salaries and everything that we had discussed last year. But again, no money has changed or anything as far as the budget per se. It's just cleaning up in these particular lines.
It was the fund codes,
Yeah, those
like the
are,
30 to 10.
Yeah.
I had to create new ones because we did different percentages this year. we had done like 50-50 and 60-40, but now we're doing like 80-20, 10-90. We went into more detail for each person, so I had to create a new line item. And when we passed the budget, we did it on the old code, and I had to create a new code, and that's all we're doing is it's a code, it's not money.
Just putting the codes in just to clear.
Pulling it from one account, and putting it in another, so it matches your percentages.
Right,
Mhm.
yes.
Yep. And again, this is something that I would like to get approved tonight, so I can go ahead and get that cleaned up tomorrow.
I would make the motion that we allow the James to move the money in 10-420-0100. Well, I'm not gonna be able to do it like that.
You can say as presented to the board.
There's a bunch of codes.
A bunch of codes.
As presented to the board.
All right, I have a first and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 4-0.
All right, next, I want to go into the upcoming budget, and if you look down at the bottom, I've got a block with just some wording and some notes. If you'll just take a glance at those, I sent an email out the other day just to kind of ask you guys to think on what you would like to look at for the upcoming year. The mayor and the board. I'd like to know if the board is requesting any increases in pay. Currently, the mayor is $135 a meeting, and the board is $108 per meeting. And if there are no changes, we can move on. If you'd like to discuss an increase, we can do that. I just need to know for upcoming budgeting reasons.
I don't think there's a need for an increase at all.
Okay.
And which sheet are we on?
Same sheet you just had.
This.
Okay, gotcha.
Is that-
I'm gonna pull Commissioner Martin. Speak for yourself.
So what you're saying, she don't want her money, you take it? All right, if there's no other discussion on that, I'm gonna move to the next item, which is the cost of living. As requested by the board, a salary study was completed, and I'm gonna pass that out to you now.
Commissioners on there?
We can add them.
Let me ask you, so if we're talking about this, I mean, is this making a decision or is this
No,
just giving
this is just giving me
you
an
points
idea.
to run with to see how it
This
fits
is
in the
helping me
budget?
to get ready for the budget next year, because if you just give me rough guesses, we're not gonna lock it until the final budget's approved, but I need to know some ideas on what we're looking at. Are we looking at 1%, 10%, 0%? Are we looking at, not buying a vehicle, things like that? So we'll run through this. The large spreadsheet shows the small towns our size that have the same or similar jobs. These jobs also show the current salary and the average state salary. Our staff is the most important part of town operations. We're at the point that we have great staff, and I'm proposing a 5% cost of living for all eligible staff, and would like for the board to review any salary adjustments as presented on the back of the spreadsheet. As you can see, we are slowly getting our public works staff to a good starting pay of $40,000, which is still about $10,000 below the state average based off of town population. The admin staff are well below the state average as well. If the board would like to discuss salary adjustments for each department, I've proposed 10% on the spreadsheet that will increase these positions. However, the admin clerk and assistant clerk would still be well below the state average. Our PD is in line with the state average, as the pay study for, and the salary adjustment for this department was completed around 21, 22, I think. The starting pay, however, we do need to bump up PD to match our neighboring towns, which is $50,000. Currently, we're still around the $46,000 range. And I would like to offer to all new officers at least $50,000 for PD. It's very vital that we offer competitive jobs for our staff as we are competing with better paying jobs in our neighboring towns. The town of Benson is offering a 15% cost of living for their employees. The town of Wilson Mills is offering 8 to 10% for their town employees. The other towns I did not get feedback from. The daily function of our town staff does, what the daily functions of our staff does typically is with less staff than our neighboring towns. I would also like the board to accept the 5% proposal for the cost of living and entertain any salary adjustments as mentioned. On the spreadsheet, you can see the pay increases based off percentages from, I think I started at 3 up to 15%. I do not expect the board to offer the max, but I would ask you to consider a competitive salary for our staff. That's in the means of living, competitiveness, stability for our staff. Staff retention has always been discussed at our planning retreat, and now is the time that we discuss this and make any adjustments moving into the next fiscal year. And again, these are just things we're just discussing. They don't need any definite ideas.
And I'm gonna throw out, I did a little bit of research too. I know there's comparisons here, but I looked more of in closer proximity. I know it may not all be comparable, but just, you know, if someone's gonna leave this place, they're not gonna go to West Jefferson or.
And if you look, I also included a Johnston County town salary study that's in your packet.
Okay,
It should be at the very back of your budget
Then-
versus actual.
then that may be repetitive of what
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, but like I know, so a Smith right now, I mean, go online. Smithfield officer starting at 60,000, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Selma, they start at 55, and Benson entry is 50,162 with a $2,500 sign-on bonus. So we are definitely like.
Yeah, so if you look at the back of the budget versus actual sheet that has all the red notes, there is the towns of Johnston County. Just to give you an example, the clerk in Kenley is 57,990. The clerk in Selma is 69,638. Wilson Mills is 79,000. So, of course, it's based on population, and also it's kind of hard to adjust and everything. The police chief in Clayton is at 150,000. Police chief in Selma is 88,000. Police chief in Smithfield is 113. So, all those numbers are on the back, and I did one just for Johnston County so y'all can see where we're at as well. But based off the state average of these towns, based off of the population, again, you can see that we're still well under the state.
But you also got to understand, you can't always base it on population either. You got to, it's median income. Because it's the tax values of the property. You look at Atlantic Beach and you do the same amount of houses here and there,
Oh, yeah.
they are not the same.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I look, you know, Benson said they're doing a 12 to 15% COLA increase, and I pulled up too, their population as of this year is 4,700 or 1,600. Wilson Mills is 3,000. We've all experienced about 17% growth since 2020, so moving all at the same pace. So I mean, yes, they have a higher population and all, but you make a good point when you said earlier, I didn't consider this, is you have fewer staff than some of the other places do. So the workload falls more so.
Yeah. Well, the thing is looking at those salaries, and I'm gonna use Buddy again as an example. He's got his stuff. He could probably go to a neighboring Johnston County town and easily make $35,000, $40,000 more a year because he is a needed position with those certifications. And clerks the same way. I mean, just everybody. I mean, it's just that's how important they are. But again, it's you know it's based off population and also it's based off of your revenues and what you can and can't afford. So, all right. Next, after the cost of living, I had a capital outlay, and I talked with PD and Public Works. These are for major purchases, vehicles, equipment, and et cetera. And PD is in need of one vehicle right now, and we've had a long discussion.
what you were reading out, is it the back?
I'm just reading.
Oh, okay, all right.
You don't have this, I'm just
Oh,
making
okay, all
a
right.
speech.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just my notes. He and I have talked, and he is in need of one vehicle. As you know, the Dodges are, okay, so to speak. We've had a lot of repairs and maintenance. We have got a state contracted price for converting over to Ford Mustangs. They're $42,000. Outfitting them is $14,000. And Ford's been around forever. The Mustang's been around since '60s, mid-'60s. And as far as repairs and costs, we kind of looked at both. Ford seems to be a little bit more affordable, less repairs, less damage versus the Dodges. And so if we were to purchase a vehicle and we needed one this fiscal year, we would like to look at the Mustang. You got anything to add on to that?
I do not.
Okay.
I do want.
I think I covered everything for him. We talked about it several times.
What vehicle would that be replacing?
That would be replacing
2015.
15 bodies. Yeah.
No,
No,
the cage.
the one with the cage. Yeah, because we talked about taking the cage out and putting it in the one with the Hemi, and then also adding a cage to one of the SUVs.
And do we need 2 cages?
Wouldn't hurt. I mean, it just depends. I mean, they're not that expensive to put in the cages. I think they're like $1,000, $1,500 or
Something
something.
with the one cage.
But we were thinking we wanted to have one on a school campus and then one in town. If we ever need one at a school, you got a vehicle that has a cage in it, and then you got one on the road. So it's not necessary because, I mean, we do have one. But our main thing is looking at the vehicles, the Dodges versus the Fords. And we've looked at other ones, and I think Highway Patrol's converting over to Mustangs, and they just have better life than the
I
Dodges.
saw one yesterday on 40. Does the 2015, how many miles was on that? They got out there.
I don't know, we can get it tomorrow for you or something. Is it here now?
No.
No.
I mean, it's okay. You can get
Yeah, we can get it.
150,
It's like 146.
and it's the Dodge Charger. It's a Dodge Charger.
And that's the
in
one
the shop all the time.
V6 too, right? Yeah, that's a V6.
Is that the last Dodge Charger we have?
No.
No, we got
How many more do
two
you
more.
think?
Two more, maybe?
Yeah, just to do that one and.
We've only got one with Hemi, the rest are V6s.
So we got one that we took out of service last year.
It's sitting out back.
It's sitting out back and it's got the logos taken off of
Yeah.
it. Then you got Bobby's, and then who's got the other one?
Charles has got the one with the Hemi.
Okay.
Willie and Bobby had the V6s.
So there's a total of 3 left in service right now.
Mhm. Yeah. And the Mustang that we've looked at is a GT and everything, the V8. So Public Works, they're in need of a effluent. Is it effluent? Which one? Influent sampler. At the plant, this is about $11,000. The sampler that's there now, it died on us. It's just old, unfortunately, and it's a single bottle composite configuration, and it can download the data by a USB port. This is required by our permit. As of today, we are borrowing one from our lab down in Wilmington, free of charge, and the current one that we've got, he's looked at it and it cannot be fixed, so we are going to have to purchase a new one. And again, that's about $11,000. Everybody's researched everything on that with the lab guy, Jay, his name Jay, yeah, Jay, and everything.
What was it we bought at the end of last year?
Sampler.
Sample.
Same
We
sample?
took-
No,
No, effluent, we bought the effluent sample. I took one from effluent because the one effluent burned up. I took the one that, I took the old one that was the effluent, moved it to effluent, started limping it by, and then it just went out.
Okay, so there's, how many did we run?
2 samples.
we got two.
Yeah,
Two samples.
Okay, I thought we bought a sample, that's what I was
But yeah,
questioning.
You gotta have one on both of them.
Yeah.
One's what's coming in, what's going out.
And then next, we would just, needing some numbers on vehicle upkeep. Again, as you heard, the Dodges appear to be in the shop a lot with the wear and tear. So we're just trying to gauge on how much we wanted to look at vehicle upkeep the upcoming year. I think the public work vehicles are okay. We do have one that's probably gonna need maybe some servicing on it. They're not in need of a new vehicle right now, but I would say probably the next year they're gonna need a new vehicle. Special appropriations, how would the board like to appropriate funds? Last year, we did away with about 4 appropriations, and we only did the women's club and the library. So I would need to know roughly what we're looking at appropriating for those two. Contingency, how would the board like to save money? And contingency covers budget lines that are short where budget amendments cannot cover them. This year, I think we had 102,000 in contingency that we put that we haven't touched yet. The capital reserve is the water and sewer reserves. That's taps, capacity, sewer fees, et cetera. We collect annually, and those go into a reserve at Community Bank that draws and makes interest. So that kind of concludes budget presentation for tonight, and I'll present budget amendments at the next meeting we have and everything. Or any questions on any of the proposals for next year? COLA, salary adjustments, capital outlay, new vehicle, anything that you would consider, or something that would help me with budgeting moving forward?
Are you looking for answers?
And I
from us?
don't need numbers, I just need, yeah, we might do that, we might not do that, just rough estimates, because, you know, this could be $300,000, could be $500,000 or whatever, but again, I'm just needing, you know, what is the board looking toward as far as,
On the town capital improvement plan, when will that be complete?
we started, well, we're gonna start on that probably, I'd say May, probably, and I'm thinking 6 months.
So we won't have it before budget.
No, but we should have it ready to apply for a fall party grant, which I think is in November. That's the goal.
But we're talking about the one that, the assets of the town. Talking
Yes,
about new
capital
roads.
improvement plan, huge major stuff, 10-year plan, 20-year plan. In 15 years, we're gonna need a new town hall. 20 years, we're gonna need, you know, whatever, that's what that's going to
And they
incorporate.
would handle our rolling stock also.
Yes, all that'll be included in that, but we're thinking, it's probably about 6 months, I would say.
Now, you're looking for input from the board tonight on these.
If
on
you
these
want
issues.
to, if not, I can ballpark it based off of what we did last year and just show you the numbers and where we're at, and we can regroup and go from there, but I'm just, you know, just explaining the needs of the departments and then responding back to the board as far as the salary adjustments and stuff that you had asked about and everything. I said, I don't need answers. If you don't have anything tonight, that's fine.
One of the things that I'm thinking that department by department, because you named several things that are we got to have. And we know that, especially in the water and sewer, that we have to be able to generate enough revenue to whatever we want to buy. And basically, when we're talking about the staffing and what percentage of the COLA that I think a lot of that is going to depend on how much cash that we actually have.
What I can do is work up on the budget, the needs that we need in the next year, the sampler, for example, and go ahead and put that in, and then the wants with the Mustang, and just kind of show those and everything. The things that we need, I would say we need to go ahead and put those in.
So, like the COLA and the any other adjustment of the salary, it just strikes me that a lot of that is going to be determining factors on what we actually set our tax rate at. And I know that we haven't made a decision yet what we're going to do with the taxes, with the taxes, with the reevaluation. So how far are we away from?
We're probably another month. I mean, the county has, they're still doing, what are they called? Shoot my mind, it's went blank. Appeals. They're still doing appeals and everything right now.
They've made the first round of answering on those. I know I received mine.
So I'm thinking at least 30 days. I can tell you that conversation with the county, water rates will probably go up 7% from where we buy water from the county. They'll go up 7%, so I'm probably working in that we go up 9% on water based off of what we purchase. I haven't heard if any of the landfill tip fees or any of those things will go up. As far as the fee schedule, our fee schedule, which is permitting, copies, whatever, things like that, that can be set any time. I don't see any of the fee schedule changing for this upcoming year. I think everything's pretty much in line with neighboring towns, and I don't see anything on that really changing.
So as far as the revamp, so the county is going through and they're doing the appeals now. So will they send? Then I'm thinking that they won't send us information as to who it is inside the Princeton city limits that they
We won't be notified now. The individual homeowner will be notified, but once they adjust the tax rate for the county, they'll notify us, and we get tax scrolls once a week now. And since we're getting in the budget, that we get I get a tax scroll that shows basically the estimated revenues and stuff based off of the current tax rate and everything. But as far as the adjustment changes, it's probably 30 days away.
I think you could go.
because it's up to us what we actually set our tax rate at.
I'm hopeful that the county's tax rate's gonna go down. I mean, I've had some conversations with them, and it probably will, but they're still listening to appeals and stuff, and they're not gonna make that decision just yet. But I can try to get some answers, tomorrow, and just see if they've got any updates. But as far as anything, I hadn't heard.
I would think you'd be very close now to take the tax scroll that you have. You can probably work with that. There are some appeals out there, but it's going to be minimal, the amount of adjustment. Like I said, they've already answered back on the informal appeal. Now they're asking for formal appeals where you go stand before the board. So they've answered that first round, and a lot of people are going to drop out at this point. And then I think there'll be very few that go through. So we'll probably have to take those tax rolls and go ahead and start working on the values and see what's available.
Very hard to do a budget without.
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll work on something, and I can send it to the board in the next couple of days with the needs, and then just, like I said, and if for example, if Commissioner Boyette says, I think the town needs a 2% raise, that gives me an idea, and I can show something. If Robson comes in 3%, just something I can work with, or I can just kind of gauge those capital outlay, the expenses. I can work on putting a vehicle in and stuff. But once we get moving a little bit, toward the end, I'm going to need some concrete.
I'll say this, because this will be my first time going through this, and I'm going to probably be over here in fantasy land just going all the wants and things. But I'll say this, and this is what I feel good about, is yes, a 5% COLA would be great, but I'm going back to our planning retreat, and I listened to Buddy, and I listen to all the things he says, and so much of our money is going towards repair and the staff and the turnover and the police. I mean, that's the function of our town, is public service, public works and safety. And we have to take care of the people, we have to have the equipment. And, I
Well,
mean,
I think competitive salaries is definitely a plus, because April and I can tell you, we get frustrated when we hire a new employee for Public Works and they last about 3 weeks and they just don't like it and they quit.
you gotta pay them.
And we gotta pay them when we're spending $1,500 drug testing them, outfitting them and everything, and they last 3 weeks and they're not making enough money. They come in, get the foot in the door, then they go somewhere else. And also, I think Public Works definitely needs some adjustment on the starting pay and everything. And then again, the admin, these two girls right here, they really help keep the town going. They're behind the scenes doing a lot of stuff, and they are overworking. I would say
They catch a lot of heat.
they catch a lot. Poor Liz, who is now engaged. I had to put that in for you, but she handles the customers. I mean, the best I've ever seen. I mean, they come in, fuss and yell and everything, and she handles them very professionally. And you know, they may not leave happy, but she handles the job and it's done right. You know. Yeah, these two girls, they do a great job.
And that's why I say, I mean, I don't know how you swing what you swing, but, I mean, love to give everyone all the money in the world.
Well,
But
like I said,
I go back to the planning retreat, and I'm certainly a COLA, but there has to be an adjustment for our public works. And kind of what had been said about, you know, starting, and then once you get through the LDT, or, you know, move it up, or some of these sign-on bonus, something, because those are our two, I mean, that's what makes us a town, our services, the police and public works.
well, I'll work on some stuff and send it out to the board and everything, and just kind of, we'll see where we're at going from there. Are there any other questions on the
I got
budget?
one,
What you got?
I got a comment of Commissioner Rose texted me, he said there's only 138 formal appeals left, 5,700 informal appeals, 38% had a decrease during informal time, rest either stayed the same or went up.
Okay.
So only 138 appeals.
I'll probably get an updated tax scroll next Monday. I didn't get one, no, today was Monday. I didn't get one today, so probably next Monday. So that'll give me a better idea of how to gauge everything, so. But I'll
Thank
work
you
on
for
some
going
stuff.
through all this. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah,
I just
very helpful.
tried to make it simple, helps me out and everything. I understand it, so hopefully.
Like we redlined everything up.
So, well, I tried to clean it up.
These
so.
colors for you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, next on the agenda is 107 North Pearl Street rental home. And what we need to discuss here, you have a picture of that site in your packet. Is we feel that we probably need to get this home. It's time to deal with it.
Yeah, because I was looking at where they did the land stuff over there. And it's right at the back door.
I'm sure it is. Of both buildings.
Yeah.
So anyway, wanted to talk about this house and see what the board is thinking. We have a picture of it on the GIS, and we have a note at the top, and just how do you want to handle it? Do we want to put it out for a bid with a 10-day upset bid and advertise for 30 days? Or when we start with advertising, when we receive an upset bid, it runs for another 10 days. And then at the end of 10 days, it would go dead, and then see what we have, and then bring it back to the board for approval.
Well, I mentioned once before for us to give some thought to moving it to a to a location that's close, do whatever work needs to be done to it, and the town seller. Instead of just trying to get the least amount.
Well, judging from what I saw that lot sell for, I don't think you'd ever win in that situation. By the time you pay to have that house moved, pay for a lot, have it reset up, fix the house, you'll have $150,000.
If we had a lot that the town already owned that was feasible, I could see that.
Cause we sold the last one.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have been.
That's what I'm saying, that lot was small, so by the time you buy a lot that's big enough for that a house to actually sit on, you'll have $75,000 in the lot. And then I bet you can't move it for less than $40,000 nowhere. You can't move it off that foundation for $40,000.
We also need to consider that whoever buys it is responsible for the disconnecting and moving and everything. We would not be responsible for any of that.
Yeah. And it's going to have to be done in a fairly timely manner because
Yeah.
the parking lot and everything's going to be put in.
And it should be vacant, I think in 30 days, 45 days. Ms. Snyder's already got another place
Yes.
to move, so it'll be vacant. Then
She's been notified and she's good, everything's good there. So at least that's what I'm being told.
correct.
My feeling is we put it up for bid and see if we can get anybody to even bid on it. Because that's the problem you're gonna have. You're talking about moving somewhere close right by here. The further you move it, the more it costs. And I've been in situations before trying to get a house sold to move it. And the last one I got, somebody gave it to me to get rid of it because they couldn't get anybody to take it. Because it just costs so much to move.
So do you want to see what we can get?
You want to set a minimum and go from there,
I think I'd just see what it would bring.
or just see what you can
I'd
get?
say what to bring, because, hey, it might get into a bidding war, and you might get some crazy money for it.
Or it might not, or it
Yeah, it
might
might
be
not,
nothing, or minimal, and no one else comes after it after that.
We actually talked to an agent about this, and she was going to find out, but I texted her at the first of the meeting, and she said she would check into it in a minute. But it was just to see if we could list it. She could list a house that's being moved. They sell permanent structures, and so it would be a house that would have to be sold and moved. And I don't think they can, based on what she was telling us that day. But she was going to check into it. But it'd be nice if we had a way to advertise it in MLS or something, where people would know it was there. Because somebody from Benson might need it, want to carry it that far. I think it does have a real chimney on it, doesn't it?
Uh,
I think so.
That doesn't have a chimney?
I think it's
No. So that makes it a little difficult too, so.
I think so.
I think it is too. I think it's an internal one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's on that, where the cedar tree's at. But, I can't tell in this picture, but
Where would we advertise it?
have to go on the town website.
Isn't there like a
You can do Johnson.
Gov deal bid line or something? Isn't there like a site like that where you can
I'm sure there is.
see all of the
There's
collected?
a government.
Collected.
Where would you advertise it?
Where
Gov
would we
deals.
have?
Gov deals.
Gov
We would just do it like we did a lot, probably, the newspaper and social media, and post a for sale sign on the property. I mean, you can do gov deals if you want to, but
Probably not.
I don't see that. That's like
Different.
national. I don't see anybody. I'm just trying to keep up local. But we can advertise it with we're accepting bids, no minimum bid. You you said, and then you wanted to do the 10% upset bid.
Well, I mean, it's whatever the board
Yeah, yeah.
feels.
I don't think you have to put there's no minimum. I almost might do $1. They don't
How
get
do you-
upset
I mean,
bid, they
how
want
do
it for
you-
$1.
How do you, what does it say here? You get a bid in a 10-day upset bid. I mean, how do you advertise, hey, we have a bid?
Yeah, we
We
would
got
like
10
to get
days.
the vacant lot, and
Okay.
we would put the price, we have a bid of 25,000, you
Okay.
had to put 10% down, you got, it's a process, but
And then-
that's how it could be done.
And the website would need to be kept up to that.
We did.
So where do we turn to get advice as to what might be a fair asking price for this building?
We looked at it the other day, and I think the house was 1,190 square feet, and I don't know what year it was built, but the tax value showing with the land was 166.
This says 220.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it was, well, that's what we bought it, the town bought it. Yeah. But the market value is 166, but we bought it with the land for 223 in 2022. But the house itself, I think, was just under 1,200 square feet, and you could, I don't know what houses sell for now, but, you take that figure, I know it's got a carport that would need to be tore off the end, I don't know if you can move it or not, but.
I think it was carpool.
Yeah, I know, I would say, maybe have somebody just look at it that's professional, do an inspection. I know the renter said the kitchen floor was very soft, I don't know if it's rotted or what, but maybe have somebody look at it and give us an idea. We can probably get that in the next 2 or 3 days, and then I can just let everybody know that, hey, so-and-so thinks it can sell for 50,000, 20,000, whatever it may be.
It's gonna be whatever to bring,
Yeah.
but we gotta get it in front of people, so how do we get it in front of
So
people?
we can get we can go get photos of it and put it all online, pictures and stuff. Now, if you're
Online.
wanting to use a realtor, which I think would be okay, we'd have to pay them, of course, but they would help us to get it sold.
Get our money
quicker.
up on it if it-
To get it sold quicker with the contingency that they're responsible for disconnecting and moving and everything. We're just selling the house and.
We can find out about that in the morning
Okay.
to make sure about the agent part. But I mean, an agent could probably drive the volume and get it out to where people can see it.
So if you're good with that, then we can, so I'm listening to everything, we can get an agent, photos, get it advertised, and then just start taking bids on it and see how it goes.
If we
If we can,
get the agent, otherwise we're gonna be putting it out for sale ourselves, or where are we gonna
I
advertise?
think an agent would help us, because if not, we're not in the realty business, and if it sells, we're gonna have to pay an attorney to do everything. So if we have a realtor, they know how to handle it and do it for us.
We can figure it
Do
out. We can figure it out.
Well,
But I get it. Would the realtor cut us a town discount, no charge,
I would-
no
yeah, I would
commission?
Probably not.
This coming from the one that was asking for cola raise?
I would just say we use the same one we used for the vacant lot.
Yeah.
Sale, Beth Hines, so she handled it perfect for us.
Well, she was the one I was talking to before the meeting, and,
She has to see. if it's
Yeah, because-
possible, right?
yeah, she has to see if it's possible.
Yeah.
And the reason that I mentioned the town doing it, which, I mean, and I do realize that it would be difficult for us to do it, and whether or not, how much money that we actually make. But, there are some, empty lots, pretty close.
That are for sale?
Everything is for sale if you got enough money.
At the right point. So we're gonna find out if an agent can actually list that, given the circumstance of what we're looking to do. And so we're gonna say, if an agent can list it, we're gonna move to have an agent list it. If not, town is going to advertise it. Okay. Do it
And they will
internally.
have to have a list price
Yeah.
for a Realtor. They can't put in their minimum deals. They will have to have a price.
If she can do it, I mean, she'll just, maybe she could kind of spell out what that looks like, what she would need, how it would be listed, that sort of thing. Do we run it for a little while internally and see how it goes and then turn it over to a realtor if it not gain the exposure we need?
Well, I think go ahead, well, if you do it, you put it on a 10-day upset, you're gonna be sitting there, but it has to be, you do that by board approval. And that way, if you get $1, then we don't wanna let it go.
That's why I said you need to set a minimum with that route.
We don't, none of us have a clue exactly what it's worth,
Yeah.
you know, as being moved. I mean, I could make a good guess at it, but I mean, it's hard to say.
But I mean, we can talk to the realtor.
Is that what y'all trying to do?
It's
Well-
part of the library project, or the
I mean, is that
community
gonna be
center.
like a parking
It's
lot?
part of the
Community
ongoing
center.
project over there.
We can talk to the realtor tomorrow and see what she says, and then I can email the board and let them know. And, I mean, if you want to make a tentative motion that if the realtor can do it, we move forward. If not, then we go with the attorney and advertise accordingly that way.
Because we're on a kind of,
Yeah, we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to
I mean,
get
we're
that.
talking about, it probably needs to be out of the way here in the next 90 days.
Yeah.
So,
Bulldoze it.
I'm gonna say, if it's that bad a shape, why don't you just tear it down, that'd be cheaper than anything. If y'all own it, I mean, you know what I'm saying, pay headaches on the floor.
Then we gotta pay to get it torn down versus somebody else.
So I'm saying,
Take
it
it
probably
off
costs
our hands.
$20,000 to get it tore down.
but we're gonna still have to take up the foundation, the food, septic tank, or not septic tank, because we have, I guess.
Well, now,
the septic
depending on
tank
the way
out
you
there.
advertise it, they can be responsible for taking everything. It's just like when you demo one. When they demo it, they demo everything, they take it off.
Looking at $0, $1
I
fee.
get, yeah.
They gotta do all that work.
Yeah. Might be worth $1 or something.
I got a question about that. Let's say you list it, right? Would you be willing to make a guaranteed zone variance in ETJ to come with it?
As far as.
I mean, the size of it doesn't meet some of the zoning in our area. It is stick built, but
This board can't make that decision. That'd have to be the board of adjustment.
you figure best if you moved it 5 miles, that's your radius, right? And we got the ETJ. Let's say if me and Mr. Ross wanted it and only moved it to some vacant property, you gotta go through the zoning process. Would you be willing to guarantee?
Yeah, this board can't. Now, if it's zone residential and it meets the zoning, then yes, but it still has to meet all the setbacks and all that stuff. This board can't do that if it don't meet any of those setbacks. That's the board of adjustment.
How about square footage?
Yeah, they can't trump the board of adjustment.
Is there a square footage requirement in zone?
Depending on if it's R1, 2, or 3.
Yeah.
Just depends, yeah. And we don't, like I said, we don't know the age of it, and if it would even hold up during the move or what. I mean, I think it probably needs a good inspection before we even consider selling it or.
But we're working against time.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think we just need to go ahead and make a motion to look at both of those options. Unless there's another option somebody wants to throw out, and then we can see where to go with it. We can always come back to a demolition and raise the house if we need to. But I would hope that we could get something out of
we
it.
kinda hate to do that.
I do too.
Yeah, I mean.
It's a perfectly good
Yeah,
house,
yeah.
but it ain't in the right location right now.
So what's the motion then, to see about having a realtor take it off our hands and run with it? Or if they cannot, then we list it internally through our own means of advertising?
Yes, and we would go with a value that she would
They
place
would
on it.
recommend.
Yeah, they would recommend. And then we can, if she puts it out for, let's just say she chooses 100, and We get a $50,000 offer. We get a $50,000 offer, then we can.
Okay,
All right, is that, are you making that motion?
yes,
Okay.
y'all heard it, right?
And the motion is what again?
So we're going to repeat it.
The motion is to, if the realtor that we have attempted to talk to, that will let us know in the morning, if they are able to list it, if that's something that they can do, we will allow them to, and also give us a recommendation on what that would look like, what they would suggest that minimum or that, would look like. And if the realtor is unable to list it for whatever reason, then we just take it upon ourselves internally to list it. Still yet, see if we can't get a recommendation from the realtor on what we should try to list it at, but do it internally if the realtor cannot do it.
Okay. Second.
Can you trust Zillow? They showed
No.
built in 1960.
That's probably accurate.
In that respect, probably so.
And we're going to do it with a 10-day upset bid process.
Yes.
I don't know, 1960.
I don't think the house would think it will remodel.
I bet you're gonna be shocked.
I mean, I've always been
It
here.
was.
Huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
It's Mr. Gentleman in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
yeah, Kenny,
It's been here ever since I've been alive,
Yeah.
and I'm 58.
yeah, he
That's what I was-
did, so he did a lot of remodeling and stuff.
Yeah, Kenny remodeled that thing several years ago.
But that house has been here ever since I can remember.
Because it was a plain white house.
Yep.
Matter of fact, when I first moved across.
Walter, you made a second, but we need a first. Or you're the first and someone
No,
needs a
you're
second.
the first.
Oh, I made the motion.
He's the second, now we need to vote.
Oh.
All right, so do we have a second?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a
You're
second.
sorry.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
Every-
Motion passes 4-0. All right. Next on the agenda is the audit contract 2025. So we have the audit contract in the packet under item 9. What was the price on this?
This audit contract come in at $27,500. Not to exceed $27,500. And this is with TPSA, who we've used the last 3-4 years. And we've had no concerns, no issues with them, and they do a great job.
And what was it last year?
It was 3,000 less, I think, or 24 or 5, I think.
And what was the year before that? 21?
Maybe 22, 21, 22.
So not $6,000 over 2 years.
And that's the 26 is the maximum.
27.5 is the max. If we have a single audit, I think it was an extra fee, but the total should not exceed.
Accounting.
The audit fee is $18,500. And then if there's single audits, it's $3,000 per, but the total should not exceed $27,500.
So we're approving the 18,500?
You're approving the $27.5, what I need to budget,
Yeah. Because just in case.
in case we have.
But now the 27 is if something goes wrong pretty bad.
Yeah.
And
So
they have to start doing a whole lot of extra stuff.
what did we spend this past year? Is it on there? This-
Is that a fixed amount or is maybe a percentage of our?
18's fixed.
And trust me, that they are a low bid because the rest of them was out of this world.
We've spent $16,600 on the current audit, and we budgeted $21,475.
So we spent $16,600, and do we anticipate any more?
Not that I know of. I think they sent everything in. I don't think we've got anything else.
Yeah, we've already heard back from.
But we've already heard, we've already approved everything with the audit, so we shouldn't have anything else.
So last year 16.6,
16.6.
and we're looking at 18.5, so
18.5.
19.
And we budgeted 21,475, that was with 18.5 plus a single audit, and this year it looks like it went up to 18.5 plus a single audit, or maybe two. It looks like we're just trying to cover it in case. But it should, the whole amount should not exceed 27.5. So more than likely, it's gonna be around that 18.5.
I know it's gonna be at least 18.5.
Hope it stays there.
What do y'all think?
But they are really good to work with, we don't have any issues with them.
Because you can go out looking one, but whenever you get back, you will have the look of shock upon your face.
I had to look at shock on my days. I mean, you know, it actually gets easier every year. They know us, it's already written, it's just filling
They
the
don't care.
numbers.
They,
Now it goes up.
I mean, this audit thing, I mean, you are between a rock and a hard place. But I remember whenever they first did, that other ones was way above theirs.
Like when you say way. Like,
Way above theirs.
It's interesting that last year's was what, that $6,000 difference of what they set the fee versus not to exceed, and now it's 9.
Well, last year we had the same thing, we had a cost plus they anticipate single audit, so last year was
Okay.
maybe not to exceed 24,000.
Got it, got it.
And this
Okay.
year with the price increase.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So each.
So it's like everything else, everything's going up.
All right, so what says the board?
Can you go back and tell them the board said 21? Don't go past 21. They'll work towards it.
I mean, that we have two options. We can, try and find someone lower that we've never used, and just to remind the board that we did have one auditor that we didn't particularly like. Right, or am I right?
He would not get our auditing. We had to get the state involved, and then he ended up getting written up to where he can no longer represent any towns, any municipalities in North Carolina.
And-
He was just bad.
And that was a low bidder.
And it's kind of like any other business, you take the lowest bid sometimes. Right?
Yeah.
So what's your recommendation?
Proceed on.
Proceed on.
I need a
So is
motion.
that a motion?
Because thinking now that even using this company, because he was the low bidder too, but it worked out.
All right. And he's done a good job.
Yeah.
They really do a good job.
Yeah.
Everything to work with them. We have no complaints.
Well, I can go and tell you, I'm not a fan of changing tax people. I've had the same one for 30 years.
Did he go up $2,500?
Absolutely. It goes up every year.
We don't have one yet.
Okay.
Did you make a motion?
Yeah.
You seem unsure yourself.
No, I'm sure that we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. I know that.
All right, so I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Second. Okay, have a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion passes 4-0.
For someone's van getting rained in, back doors open?
Oh, Lord, a van?
Man.
Oh, a May.
My key fob's been messed up this week.
Oh, goodness.
All right. Next on the agenda is to discuss the demo of the current community building.
idea on that, but we might want to wait until May.
Well, now, I thought that we were going to try and keep it up before.
We are.
We're getting ready to talk about that.
Can I go to the bathroom?
No.
Well, I'm going anyway.
Okay.
I tell you what, you want to sign these, and then we'll have this on that. All your fault.
Charlie, I'll get with you and Brad this week, maybe tomorrow, so we'll walk out there and take a look at it and, see what you got.
She paused it, didn't she?
But just
With all
keep-
respect,
keep in touch with me.
me and you've been doing this now for 5 years.
Well, I've only been here 3.
Well, I understand, but it was something sitting in this exact room the board voted on and approved. And I know there was a bunch of money given.
Well, whenever it dries out, it's probably too muddy to go out there now, but we'll look at it.
I got boots. You ain't got none. I can use them.
Man,
It's a good time because it'll show you what it's doing to my
I
land.
have to dress up, yeah, that's true.
He don't know how to wear boots.
They don't.
I do.
Well,
But I will,
I'm
we'll
gonna get
get
out of
with
the way.
you.
I was hoping to be able to speak with you and Mary Johnson about it, but I really would, like to sit down and work on something because, I mean, not trying to, she was here, I think you were here, no.
Walter, probably.
Walter was here, and this gentleman was here. 6 years ago when I built my house, I came in this room because of a woman that no longer works for this town, okay? And I was called every name in the freaking book because of a tile that was in my ditch, and I was blamed for the Princeton flood, all right? I spent a lot of money doing my house, and I was made 2 promises. You fix one of them this year, and I do thank you. But I'd like the other one promised filled. And I know last year in May, 3 men went in there with chainsaws cutting lower limbs down, and that ain't cleaning it out. That ain't cleaning it out.
All right, ready?
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
got an iPhone tomorrow.
All right, number 10, we're going to discuss the demo of the current community building. I have passed out the plat map of where the building is currently sitting.
Did get one, Mr. Mayor.
I am so sorry about that. Here you go.
I didn't know if Mr. Martin was just.
I think he's holding up one of them.
Yeah, it's on the board.
No,
He just didn't want to shoot.
Pass through.
no,
He wouldn't play in the sandbox together.
All right, so
I'm not going with you.
what we have is, you can see the current community building is shaded in dark gray. It touches the edge of the existing community building, and that is the sidewalk there. We've actually taken that piece of sidewalk off, and we will be building a pad there that will be a foot higher than the current community building. So going to be close proximity with the work. You can see also the current one-story house over on the right side of the page. So we've discussed getting that moved, and you see how it's going to come out with the parking, which will have curbing and everything in this parking lot. So, you know, we need to get that out sooner than later. But going back to the community building, the problem is that we can't build this parking lot. There's going to have to be cut, done. We're going to dig a drain from about where that median is in front of the new community building all the way to Center Street. So it's going to go through that building. So what we need to decide is how we want to handle this. And if we can get the building built, I think, and get a CO, and we can move the library into the community building, but then we're going to probably have to shut the library down because we won't have access because of the parking lot. We're going to be really digging into that. It's going to stretch it out.
Can we not do this part of the parking lot?
At a cost. You're going to be 2 times paving, 2 times with the concrete forms around the perimeter. It's going to have
You
2
have
times of the
mobilization.
paving. Yeah, mobilization. And plus, you're working with something that's in the way of a site plan, you know, because we don't have detailed drawings on all this.
So, that sounds like, well, number one, let's go back to number one. I would not want to open up the library and then close it back down to do something else.
Yeah, well, I don't know that they would ever get open, they would just get moved. And then it would be demolition and then building the parking lot. I don't know exactly how long that would take. The library might be receptive to moving it out and setting the date and shutting it down, and then building, you know, tearing the building down, raising the building, and then letting us go ahead while this other building's going on if they're gonna lose time. Either way, but, you know, I'm thinking mid-July is gonna be about the time that all this needs to start. And so we, you know, we can stretch it out. I thought about the double phase that Commissioner Holmes was talking about, but again, that's added expense.
But now whatever you were saying, were that it can start, because you were talking about the demo of the now existing community building, correct?
Yes, once we get that building out of the way, because you can see the parking lot goes right through the library or half of the building, the existing library.
Could you just do the half of the parking lot and come back and do the other half?
It can be done that way, but again, they're not site plans, so you're taking everything and working it. I mean, it's more error for mistake.
So we're looking at, so now, are you saying that the best option is to demo the now existing community building probably by at least July? And so that it would be out of commission for like 4 months, 3-4 months.
I don't know that it would be out of commission that long, but it would be out of commission for a while. I was actually at a retreat this weekend and Hope Doherty was there, Hope and Kevin, and I had a little discussion with them about it, and I didn't tell her either way, but I told her we had a dilemma, and I don't know which way she was leaning, but I did mention it to her, so it was kind of in her thought pattern to be thinking about.
Well, we got another option. We got a house that we've not tore down, we've not sold, and it's not in the way of the parking lot.
But it will be when it's all done.
When it does, yeah, here, but it's not in, the parking lot doesn't go into it right now. Our driveway doesn't even affect it, I mean, it's completely out of it. Could we not let the library move into there for a 2 to 3 week period?
You're talking about just putting your stuff in there?
Put their stuff in there and they can still operate it if they wanted to.
Yeah, I don't think they could because that's not approved by the county. That would have to be approved by the county. We went through that when we were looking at moving them there. They would have to have a certificate of occupancy and everything. And they were talking about $300,000 worth of work being done.
And I'm sure, you know, they'll talk about any option, but that's them moving twice. I mean, they may not be able to get up to where they need to be to even make it worth them moving to do that at all versus just being out for a couple weeks or a month or something like that.
It would all be dependent on weather and the time of year, and how quick we can, get everybody in there to do the work, the grading and so forth. But I mean, that is an option, is to go like we planned and move them from the community building into the new library, and then go immediately into demolition, give them like 3 days, say it's got to be out, everything's out. And move, I mean, it would just be total.
Then what would that, so if they did that, so if you said, hey, the building's good to go, or, CO, whatever state it needs to be in, we're gonna need to demo in 3 days. You got 3 days to just get it in, get it out, get it in the new space. What does that put them for downtime I mean, as far as the state of the premises, for them to be able to be
Problem is
operational.
You're not gonna get a CO without a parking lot.
Then they can't move it.
They can move their stuff in there, but they they won't get power or anything cut on.
I think one discussion they had mentioned was possibly talking to Eddie Orman and see if they could temporarily move into his spot, which is on the corner of Center. I think it is the old service station that's been remodeled, and see if they can move in there for 4 months. So, I think it May's left, but I can ask her tomorrow if that's an option and talk to Eddie and all. And I'm sure if they need some help moving, I know the high school boys and I'll probably can help them.
Well, now, during that time, that school be out.
But I'm sure they probably still help, but I mean, we can get some people to help them move if we had to.
That I was wondering, could they temporarily move back to the
I
school?
was thinking about that too, but that messes with their hours of all their programs that they do, because
I think they got too much stuff to move back to that.
Well,
spot.
and there again, school's closed during that time.
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
I think the Eddie Orman building's probably the
Best option.
best spot if he would let them use it for a couple of months. And I think they had that conversation.
The best scenario for the building of the building would be to get this building out of the way in July, if we could. If we can't do that, if you can't get in, I mean, I think we could probably, I don't know if you can get the CO or not, that'd be a question, a Russell question
Yeah,
about the CO, but I know you would have power on, you could probably get the stuff in there, as long as they have the insurance and we've settled up on everything. We could move them into there with a signed lease and all of that stuff, and then we could go to work build the parking lot, but they wouldn't be able to, they're gonna probably have to park down the street and walk in.
And we probably don't need to rent the building after June, right?
Yeah, I think we
I
said
think we
July
said
31st.
July
What did we say,
31st.
July 31st?
July 31st.
Yeah.
Do you
Because
have
it
any-
was, there's already 3 weekends in July that's booked.
Yeah.
So, well, we have no choice,
Yeah,
but to
so
wait to the end of July.
we're not renting after July 31. And the thing, also remember, the building's gonna be here June the 1st, and they've already told us as soon as it's here, it's going up.
Yeah, as long as we've got.
I mean, as long as everything's ready, it's gonna go up, and if those corners are gonna hit, that's gonna be a problem.
And
They won't hit, but they're gonna be right next to each other.
Well, my question is, where are they putting all the equipment supplies that's gonna go along with this? My concern is we've got this building rented, and the front parking space, there's not but what, 8 parking spots?
Yeah.
because you probably ought to give refund.
That's what I'm wondering
Yeah.
if.
We're talking about it needs to be
When's the
down by
building
sometime
coming
in
in
July.
June?
Probably not
June
sure.
1st. We should hopefully take it off the truck on June 1st, and according to the contractor, we should be able to start building within the next day or two.
And the thing from an insurance viewpoint, if you have started construction, do you really want people to be there? Period.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to keep it roped off. I mean, once you get that big old parking lot going, I mean, there could be a little bit of grading, but all the work is right here on this end, underneath that building, so.
Because I'm just saying with the equipment they bring in and the trucks and all that
Yeah.
they're gonna have, with the existing building there, they're gonna have to use that front parking lot
Yeah,
and the side, and, I
Mhm.
mean, I'm just
because
concerned.
they really don't have any other place to put their equipment.
Well, the house is in the way over here, we could park in the front yard and around this side, but I mean, I
That's
don't know how sturdy that is, how much it rains,
And it's gonna go quick, I mean, we can't
Should.
wait for the house to sell. I mean, it don't sell, it's gonna have to go one way or the other, and the same with the building. I mean, they're gonna have to go.
You got a little bit more leeway with the house, because like I said, it's not in the footprint of
You
the
could,
park.
I think you could turn it,
Yeah,
maybe you
but,
could turn it and bring it
yeah,
out.
The building's definitely in the way. It's gotta go. I think the best thing right now, in my opinion, is refund anything for July
Yeah,
and plan on that thing
yeah.
getting
Well,
going.
If you could, you need to go ahead and make those phone calls tomorrow.
That way you got enough time for them to
Well,
refund.
and, well, I'm thinking June too, because he's going to start, that the building's gonna be here, and he knows that once the building get here, that he diving in.
Well, I mean, we would probably section off this building off of this corner and stop the passing through, and everything will be laid down out here in this parking lot beside this house.
Yeah, they're gonna lay everything out in the gravel right now. They won't lay anything out on the other side, because they're not gonna have to try to carry it around that building.
And they'll probably park right here on this end, the subs coming in or pull up to the building. So, you know, I think we can probably do most of this, and you could probably keep your rentals going through June. Because I hate that we've already rented it out. If we hadn't rented it,
Do you know if anything is rented in June?
I have to look.
I think there's 2 weekends. I think we just put
I
one.
think it's the middle 2 weekends too.
But
I
the
wouldn't,
thing,
I wouldn't take anything last.
but the thing of it is, you see, if you go ahead and let them know, and
I say we just, yeah, I agree with, don't rent it out in June or July, just too
Yeah.
much going on. I think that's
But that's why I say like go, just
And
go
we
ahead and
can
cut
just
it off,
vote that.
because now they got enough time now to go ahead and refund them their money. They've got time to
Yeah.
look somewhere else to go.
For whatever it's worth in our considerations, I had texted May and said, hey, we're talking about the library, do you want to come back? But bless her, car flooded in that rain. And she just said that, because I said, you know, what all would you have to move, you know, what, and she said, it's just books and some smaller furnishing, and she said she got it all done in 2 weeks last time, that's everything that's currently in there, and that was her and 6 volunteers. So, I mean, maybe if you pulled some more people, you might could do, but if we're talking about them moving just the bare minimum of what they need to move, it may not be 3 days, or whatever, you know, we're
Yeah,
talking about,
yeah.
just to kind of bear that in mind, call it a week and a half, you know, 2 weeks max.
but as I say, if they start moving, maybe they start moving before the time. So if we give them a day that they need to be out, and then if it takes them 2 weeks, they start 2 weeks before.
And she said, I was planning on 2 weeks of being closed for boxing and moving, so anticipating 2 weeks of being closed.
One thing about moving it, it would be boxed, and they could leave it boxed, and wherever they take it. And then they go to move again, to move it in, and then, you know, it should be pull up and unload and
Sure.
carry it in. Anyway, that's something to be thinking about. Now, the other thing is, you know, we haven't received our funds either from the library. They're in an account, but they're not account that, have you signed?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So we're in a account that Commissioner Boyette has access to, but it's not
She's got partial access.
partial, because
She's got
it takes two signatures. So,
So is that a problem, or?
Well, it's not what we agreed to, not at all. It's agreed to be put in a third party escrow.
Is it something that we can live with?
if something happens to the money, no.
So yes and no. I don't like it at all, because it's not what we agreed to. They knew the terms when they left here that night. They should have held their end of the bargain like we asked them. They agreed to it standing right here. There was no reason for them to go back and try to change it.
And I guess what my question on it is, where does the untrust, because that's what I feel like.
I can tell you where it comes from, but I'm not going to say it in here.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we've been over backwards. We've done everything that we said we would do. And I guess I'm just don't know. I'm like, you know, I want every party to do.
And what you're talking about, the untrust, that's why you put it in a third-party escrow.
Yeah.
With an attorney or somebody that they control the funds. We don't control it, they don't control it. An engineer comes out, looks at the building, proves everything's been done, you submit the invoice, they give you a check. As it is now, we've got to have this done and then hope that they just agree to pay it. If whoever the other signer is decides, I woke up in a bad mood today, you're not getting any money. And that's why that's designed that way, so you don't have that issue.
I think the main thing is we need to get the lease agreement back, because the lease agreement basically states that they pay the town $428,000, and we should hopefully have that back by Friday. Chip, their attorney's working on it, has been out of town, but once they sign it and we get it back that it's signed, I would feel better for sure, because they signed it that we're gonna give $428,000.
Because at
And I
that
agree with
point,
that.
if they don't,
Yeah.
we've got legal
Yeah.
ways to present from there.
And see, that was my thing, because I knew that was something we were waiting on. But I had never seen an email that says, hey, we have this in hand, we're good. And I guess once we get that, I feel a little bit better. I just kind of feel like now we're kind of like a mule with a piece of corn or a banana hanging in front of us. And it's like, you know, when you want us to move, you'll put it out and then you pull it back. And I just feel kind of, you know, and I know
That's
that's
saying that I disagree with you.
Yes,
That's the way it's been done.
but I'm just, I mean, you know, I'm just kind of leery now. You know? And I think my leeriness came in when the first 2 deadlines were missed. And then that day we spent, you know, 2 hours, and we were going back and forth. Then it was like, okay, we're good, but then, well, we'll have this here by a certain time, and then still it came partial. And I'm like, come on.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, man. It's frustrating because we've met multiple times and they have agreed to it. There was nothing hidden. It's all documented. And they just refuse to do whatever they tell you they're going to do.
Well, I don't think the ones that we're actually meeting with had that final say-so on what happens.
But then they should be in here talking for them.
And that, I think, is one of the problems that we've been dealing with, is that
Yeah.
they're part of the board, and they go back to a meeting, and
Then they should not stand here and agree to something that they can't fulfill.
Yeah, the powers that be should be in here talking to us.
All of them. If one or two can't speak on behalf of the board, the whole board needs to sit here and talk, instead of sending somebody in here for a chopping block.
but that's just my perspective from everything that's happened, is that you've got 2 people in here meeting with us, agreeing, and then.
Because to a degree that, you know, not saying that we are like that, but if we were headhunters, we could be like, you know what, everybody that came in here and talked to us that day, their word is no good at all. And we could feel some type of way. But knowing that there is a puppet master behind the scenes, if I may.
Oh, well, I think we're going a little bit too far.
Well, I mean, somebody else is making the calls.
Yeah. He didn't point out who, but there is somebody else doing it.
Yeah, so that's what I said.
They come in here and they say something, they go back and it all gets changed.
So, I mean, it really puts a raw taste in your mouth. I mean, just to be honest. Like I've always.
I say we wait and see what happens with getting that lease signed. If that lease doesn't get signed, we go. We need to have a come to Jesus meeting right here with them.
Well,
And it needs to be all of them, not 1 or 2 to stand here and say, oh, well, okay.
And like I say, not beating up anyone, but I mean, your word is your bond. And if you can't give me your word and your word cannot stand true, then that's when I look at you cross-eyed.
Well, I think it's like you said, I mean, we just gotta keep going. And then we get the lease back, we try to put a deadline on getting that lease back. We have something a little more concrete. And I mean, I hate to say, but what to do? But, I mean, right now, I'm signing for an account on behalf of the town with Hope. And we all know, we've all spoken about the agreement, is that we get invoiced, we provide that and say we need to make a draw. I email, we need to draw this much. Hope emails, they need to draw that much, and then we go. And until, that time comes where there's a problem, we just got to just keep rolling. I mean, I agree that wasn't
There's a
the
problem with
agreement.
that, though. Once you get into this building, a certain position
Yeah.
in the construction, if all of a sudden it turns south, you got a note that you can't pay for. If we get this building erected without the interior finished, we're close. If we start finishing inside that building on their side, and then it goes south, we got problems.
I think you'd be okay until the last straw. And then, I think at that point, they're gonna be so invested, that they're either gonna have to pay, but you don't, allow them to take possession of the building without the lease being signed and back.
That's why I say, once we get that in hand, I'll feel better.
And like I said, there's some recourses we've got here. It upsets me, because I'm like you. If I tell you I'm gonna do something, you better get ready. It's coming. Don't stand here and tell me what you're willing to do, and then you don't ever do any of it. I mean, they've not held one deadline, not one request that they've agreed to have they met, not one. And that's just not the way you do business.
All right.
Keep you posted and let you know. when we find
Yeah,
out
just
by
keep us
Friday.
up on that.
Yeah.
So as far as this building goes, you're saying not take any more June or July bookings?
Right.
Are we looking to cancel the June bookings?
Mhm.
So we're gonna cancel the June and July bookings?
Just to me, that I think is wise to cancel the June.
That's fine.
I do too.
That's good.
So we'll do that. And then, are we gonna revisit this when we get a little closer, or are we gonna go ahead and talk to the library and see?
I think it'd be, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think it'd be worth talking to them to find out, like, just brainstorm, not make any decisions, but just kind of hear out, what, like, kind of like May was saying, took about this long last time, get an idea of their timeline, their thoughts. For all we know, they could say, oh yeah, we're okay being closed for X amount of time. I mean, just worth having a conversation, and then we,
When I talked to Ms. Doherty this weekend, she seemed to be open to it.
Well-
I mean, a loss of time, either way, one thing about it, they can move in, they could be setting up while we're doing the other stuff. But I've also heard that they're looking at purchasing a whole lot of new furniture and stuff. And so they're fundraising for that. And if that's the case, I'm sure those deliveries will be coming in, and we might not be able to get them to the door.
Sure.
So,
Well, and they can still have activities somewhere else. I mean.
They go to Flores Park now. and
yeah,
stuff.
you could go to the park.
Well, I think.
Or a church to do.
Yep,
like,
that's right.
To do like story time.
That's right.
And, stuff like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
we can put a sign up out at the entrance, there's a, meeting today, and it's where. And, there'll be no building there, but there'll be a grader running back and forth.
And they've got a loyal following there.
Oh, yeah.
They'll know where
Oh,
they're
yeah.
gonna be and where they're going. And
Yeah.
And I'm sure with the new building coming.
Through the internet.
Yeah, and I'm sure with the new building coming, their clientele would be more than happy or understanding of what's going on while they're getting that straightened
Then
out.
it gives them a chance to regroup on some things as well.
So I'd say,
I would say if we're not going to take anything else in the month of June, we need to find out how quick they are willing to step out of that building. Because as you know, that steel hits the ground. It's going, in a week's time, that frame's going to be up.
well, it would depend on when they know they could get in. Like if you said, okay, by May 31st, you have to be out, or then you'll be able to go in at this time or something. We've got to give them some kind of.
Well, you got a window, but that's all subject to weather too.
Yeah.
It could affect it. Yeah.
I think we need to be looking for some time in June. If we're going to cancel the community building, cancellations, bookings for that month,
Yeah,
June and July, let's get the building out of the way as quick as we can, as quick as they're willing to let us take it. I know June and July, they have their summer activities, so they might tell us that the best they could do is June 30th, and we can work with that. If they say August 30th, then it's not going to be very good.
I'm sure they would understand. I'm sure it would be.
Because that's the benefit then, is to try to get the building done quicker, because the quicker they've got access to this side and the parking lot, I mean,
It
they
really would benefit them if they could move into Orleans.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
that's
the
close.
4 month period of time, and then we wouldn't have to.
Even just to have a home base, but they can still have programs at, like you say, the church or the park or wherever.
Or they might set up an area there. I mean, they've got nice parking, and I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, it would work out.
It'd be
But
cool if we
anyway,
could mobile, we could just pull somewhere
Yeah.
and work out easy.
That's what I was thinking. Just a trailer, no big deal.
Well, but with the crowds that they say that they have, there's gonna be a problem with work. So they're having 20 and 30.
So are we making any kind of decision, or we're just talking about it?
We're just talking about it. I wanted the board to be aware. I didn't want it to come up and, hey, we've got to get rid of this building today. But I mean, is that where you can have some dialogue?
Sure.
Commissioner?
Oh, yeah.
If you
So,
don't
so
mind.
what's our, as a starting point of a conversation point, what's kind of our window that we would like to be out, could go to, like, what's our baseline of a timeline, dates that we know are hard dates? It's coming in June 1.
It'd be nice if they could vacate the building by July 1st or 5th. And I mean, we could work with up to the 30th if we had to, I think. I mean, we will if that's what we have to do. But
So are they going to have stuff going on the end June and July?
June, when they will start the building.
No.
The library.
Yeah,
At the library, will they have stuff going on?
yeah.
I'm sure they will.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
But that's what we're talking about.
For us to cancel things and, no.
That's what I'm saying, ask them to see what they can do.
I think we
Before
just
we
need to
cancel?
I think we just need to tell them when we need it. Because
I think we need to make a decision
Yeah,
for the community building.
because I
So
can
we
tell
be
you-
done with it, we can let our people know. The library,
they
We'll
won't,
just have
they
to-
won't even do what you ask them now. So if you give them any leeway on this building, it'll be 2 months after you tell them to be on. So you need to put a hard line in the sand and say, if you ain't out today, we're gonna cut your water off.
I think Ashley and I can have a conversation with the library tomorrow, Wednesday, and say, hey, can you look at the Orleans building, because it's gonna save the town time and money to demo this versus you staying in it till it's complete.
Tell them it's gonna save them time, because
Yeah.
the building will be able to be erected quicker, the parking lot
Yeah,
done
we can
quicker.
explain it that way to them.
You'll
and
get
hopefully
in
we can
better.
find
But if
Eddie.
not, it's gonna drag out.
There's
Well, the question
Somewhere
is,
else
if
they
they take the downtime in July, August, or if they're gonna take it in, November, December, or October, November. We're gonna try to be done by November 1st.
So is it too hard to say when, is it dependent on when they're out, is it dependent on when they're in the new space? I mean, how do
It
they
could
both
affect.
go together? I mean, what can I present them as the
So,
windows of,
right now, we have to build the building,
right,
and then we gotta come back and build all the parking lots, which
okay,
the two could be going on at the same time, if that building's out of the way.
okay.
So when
Probably got-
when the building finishes, we could have the parking lot almost finished, and then everybody moves in.
Because the problem is, without the parking lot, you can't get a CO for the building.
Got it.
So even if they're in there, until that building is completely finished, until the parking lot's done, they still can't look at it. They still have to get out. And all the demolition of the building done and the construction of the parking lot. So you still won't be able to move right in.
did you have an extra copy of that
Okay.
for the, Thank you.
Did somebody make a motion to adjourn?
Is there a game on tonight?
You got spoiled last month, didn't you? When it was so fast, you can get that. That's an anomaly.
All right, I think I heard a motion to adjourn,
I second that.
and I have a second.
But the discussion's gonna be, I'm gonna talk to the live, I'm gonna talk, and we'll kind of share information on what that discussion includes over email.
Yeah, we just kind of need them to tell us what we can do.
Rob, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Bye, Rob.